If you are joining today, we are talking about self-sabotage and how it can be a motherfucker. But what are some ways that you can get through it? What are some messages the universe has for you that sometimes can assist you in your human journey? So good news that's on the horizon. I don't say this to just be optimistic. You literally have new birth coming. New beginnings is shown. Got new birth on this one. So it's you're in it. Like, you're in it. The differentiation factor of what's going to make it feel like it's happened is you literally choosing to let go. So what are you letting go of? It feels like you've been, so I sometimes call it like a purgatory period, a waiting cell, not much moving, or it just isn't, when it is moving, not exactly what you desire to have. And what it is it's, see it as like a detox period. Okay. You've been just in this period and it could have been going on for years. This could just be a few months. It might be a few months. That feels like a few years, but it's a choice of new beginnings. So when we have the new beginnings, you have to understand that when our body and mostly our mind, but then our mind holds on to things that then so does the body. And self-sabotage isn't like, oh, you're just such a flawed being. Self-sabotage is your mind, your body trying to protect itself. Now, that doesn't always work in our favor, though. I usually like to say that sometimes it's like an overbearing parent, or guardian. And it's like, yeah, it's for our best interest, but it's also like hurting us at the same exact time because it's holding us back. So we have to learn to be adaptable through this process. And what do I mean by being adaptable? So one of the things that you can start doing for yourself that like I'm feeling is like literally asking yourself, how do you feel? So it seems that more and more, I would say, like they're giving me like the owl in the branch. You can become and have become more of the observer of your life. So I'll use my own circumstances as an example. So again, I grew up in, if you've watched one of my videos, a very like kind of high strung, lot of yelling to like get something to emotionally be expressed and all these things. And like, if anything came into an environment, it was like, oh, blah, 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 like everything, like from it's my birthday, we're singing happy birthday, the doorbell rings. And my mom and dad's reaction is always like, oh, what's that? Kind of stuff. So we had that a lot and it was normalized. And for the longest time, I deemed it as normal. It was passion, it was emotion. And I think to some extent, having inflection in your voice and having emotions and having feelings are all beautiful, beautiful things. But to bring this roundabout to go to what I'm trying to get across that I've had to acknowledge and to learn to be adaptable about is habits. So I have the habit of, in a moment, I do tend to get overwhelmed. Yes, I have ADHD, I'm perimenopausal, and all these other labels. I am all those things. Or have all those things. I am still me. And so I try to use those things as just like, okay, they're there, just like air and weather is as well. I don't necessarily have to wear it as a label and a state of permanency. So although they do sometimes halt my process, or I have to go about it in different ways and be a little inventive and adaptable, I'm teaching myself that it's okay. Like I'm reprogramming like 20 things at one time. So my children being bouncy doesn't mean that in order for them to realize that the bouncing and the basically jumping bean, wild animal energy, yes, I would like them to be calm. Well, the way to get them to do that definitely isn't coming at them with, what are you doing? Stop doing this. Guess what my habit's been? Why? It's what it came from. It's what I'm used to doing. Where, oh, I don't want to be bothered like I'm cooking, or, oh, I'm doing this, so I'm not going to stop what I'm doing. God forbid I do that to then go and do something else that I need to work in my favor. So those are the connecting dots. We don't always want to. We're stubborn. And that's what you have to admit. Sometimes it's that simple choice of stopping what you're doing, stopping how you've been doing things all this time to go and create a new way of doing it. Become adaptable to your situation. So what? You just didn't, oh, well, I said I was going to do this the whole time. I got interrupted. Okay, become adaptable instead of freaking stubborn and like holding yourself back. And that's what I was saying with this detox thing. It's like you've been outgrowing this old identity for quite some time, but you still just like play this sob ass story. Like move the fuck on, like move on. Like, move on. And if you do, oh, it's going to feel beautiful. You literally have, after the storm, you have birthing, new birth, guarded, vigilantly, whatever. I can't read. And then new beginnings. And then while you're going through this process, you're being encouraged to do it with compassion. Okay. So like, that's what I was also going into, like this whole new softer side of me, like really being soft. Like, I catch myself with so many small things. Like, my husband's like, oh, can you do that for me? Can you make my sandwich for lunch when I go to work? Can you do this? And then like, there's a part of me like, but I got all these things that I'm doing. And it's like, am I losing something from that? Is he using me? None of this stuff is happening. He's like, we just make up this crap in our head. It's like, if anything, it would actually probably flow even better, even nicer. And yeah, I literally have the time. What part of me thinks I don't have the time? So that's where this whole like mental thing, we convolute a lot of crap. We tell ourselves we don't have time. We tell ourselves that we're stressed. We tell ourselves all this stuff. That's the self-sabotaging pattern, because my new identity is way more chill. My new identity has way less anxiety. My new identity, even though, yes, random AF still, actually does pretty well with list, order, and structure. Still a lot of flexibility, still a little bit random in that structure to where, oh, if then that, if not, then this, then it's that. And it's like, all right, well, here's the list. Here's the plan for the rest of the evening that I've adapted to, rather than, oh, everything's ruined. Nobody read my mind. How dare they do it that way? Oh, well, this is what my expectation said. I thought he was going to walk in and he was going to say this thing, but he didn't. Oh, now I'm going to be butthurt and grumpy all evening. He should just know that I feel that way. That's so stupid. Okay, like we have to stop doing this to ourselves. So when you ask yourself, what do you feel? It's also, what do I keep doing myself? So what do I feel in this moment that I'm causing this action to happen? Okay, so that's where you're allowing yourself to like shift your usual habits. Like, is it guilt? Is it like a self-attack, a self-imposed thing, a victimization because it's a habit? So now I'm going to go a layer deep. Actually, conversation was brought up by my husband. We had some friends over the other day. We were sitting at the dinner table, like just chatting about stuff. And then my husband mentioned, he's like, yeah, I had this realization. I forgot even what the specific topic was, but what he ended up sharing was, he's like, yeah, I realized I was like, my ego is attached to the story of talking about a problem, like talking about the challenge, and like, everything he's chosen in his life, from the Marine Corps and everything he's ever done. Like, he chose the Marine Corps over like his brothers were in the Air Force. And he chose the Marine Corps because he was like, oh, I don't want to, I'm not a pussy. I'm not going to do it that way. And he was infantry. So they literally did sleep in a hole, in the ground at certain times in his life, or like, kill a rabbit in the wild, and like, all these things where his brothers were like sleeping in a hotel, eating lunch at a restaurant. So what I'm trying to get at is, like, he did notoriously choose that. And then we have a lot of conversations about that as well, of his habit is choosing when he does verbally communicate, because he's not necessarily an emotionally expressive person. When he does communicate, it's usually what somebody has done, like let him down with, or what somebody's done wrong, or what he wants somebody to do for him, or, and it's like, where's the other side? And so that's something he's learning, like, hey, how can I bring in a little bit more of the other stuff, because that exists actually in more quantity, but I'm always like hyper fixated and hyper focused on these little small things. So in my world, like, a lot of stuff goes right. It's just that I have to not be so hyper fixated on something coming into my bubble and I'm like, oh, so blah, 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 or all these things. I just need to take a second, because my brain, yes, it quick fire action. That's true. I have a habit of quick fire action instead of pause. I need to get into the habit of pause, then respond, pause, then say something, pause. Just pause for a second. Might not need to say anything at all. Like, because that's the first defense mechanism. That's the self-sabotaging behavior that wants to come through, because it always has. It's had no boundaries. It's been a freaking toddler and a teenager that hasn't had any authority type of like guidance. It's just been freaking pissing in the wind the whole time, allowed to do so. So it's going to get butthurt when you start to reel that thing in to say, like, no, not happening. This is not working for our new sense of self. But while you do it, you don't have to be mean to yourself. You don't have to bring in more shame and guilt. Just acknowledge it. it's the same thing with my kids. Rather than be like, oh, you did this again, so blah blah. It's like, all right, look, the way that this has been going is not working out. Like, have you noticed that how today's been going? Have you noticed that you've been doing this? Do you notice like things are escalating a little bit more? I do. I'm like, would you like to change that, or do you just want to keep going on the path you're going? I'd like to change it. Okay, well, let's try again. I'm probably going to have this conversation like 7 more times. Yeah, realistically, probably so, because my kids are 6 and 8. But the point is this, sometimes it's a matter of just choosing in that moment in time to just choose again, to do something different. We call them do-overs, Like, also, my husband's been actually kind of helping with this, even though it used to trigger me. Like yesterday, after I was like cleaning up after dinner, I kept, hey mom, like 7,000 times a day. And I was like, what? Or like blah, blah, blah. And so I'm Tony sometimes when I do it, but not like, I'm not intentionally like, I'm going to be Tony, but I have a habit of having that as a response, and I'm really trying to catch it. And oh God, I'm not gonna lie, it's been hard. But I also tell myself, like, am I just telling myself that it's hard because it's just a habit? Old habits die hard. And this has been a habit that's been around a long time. So, and then my husband was like, oh, did you have to respond to him that way? And I was like, no, technically I didn't, but I did, like working on it, getting there. And because I've been a really bad habit of doing that to him. And now I'm realizing, like, I don't want to do that to my kids. Like, I don't want them to think, like, because when I sit there, this is how I always tell myself about a behavior. Seriously, if somebody was recording you with a camera, following you around all day, how would you feel about the things that you do? Would you be embarrassed? Would you be like, oh God, I don't want anybody to see that I do it that way? If so, then like those are things that we should probably be working on. Not because we care what other people think, is that we're realizing like even ourselves don't really appreciate that. Obviously, we're going to fuck up sometimes. At no point am I saying I got this, like, shit in the bag. I got it. No, I don't. I'm human. You're human. We're going to still fumble. We're going to still fall. I'm still going to yell at my kids sometimes, even though I'm like, God damn it, I don't want to yell at my kids anymore. I still do. I'm not the softest person. I still have a lot. Just yesterday, I was hanging out with like a couple friends, and they were like, yeah, you just have such a high energy. And I'm like, I guess, I don't always look at myself that way, but I think others do. I think I do have a lot of energy. I think when I go to speak to people, there is a lot there. Whether, it's a close friend or a stranger, it's just my personality. And so I'm a more of an expressive person than other people. And then occasionally I say inappropriate comments and jokes, not on purpose. They just come out. So anyway, let's get what's going to balance us today. I was led to get in this deck. All right. We're doing box breathing. All right. If you're not familiar with it, I will share this with you. Boxer square breathing is a technique designed to promote relaxation, reduce stress, and enhance focus. It involves inhaling, holding, exhaling, and holding for equal counts, creating a square-like pattern. Box breathing engages the parasympathetic nervous system and it reduces stress. So what can that do? Whenever you're feeling possibly interrupted, whenever you're feeling like a lot's going on, whenever you're feeling like you can't show up and can't do it, why don't you use this as a tool? Again, you're recognizing the self-sabotaging pattern, you're choosing to learn how to be adaptable, and they're teaching you a new tool, okay? So it says, step 1, inhale deeply through your nose, counting to 4. Or any count that suits your pace. Hold your breath for the same count. Exhale slowly and fully through your mouth for the same count. Take a pause without breathing for the same count. Continue this pattern for several cycles. As you become more accustomed to the practice, you may want to increase the number of counts. So again, inhale deeply through your nose, counting to 4. Hold your breath for 4. Exhale slowly and fully through your mouth for 4. Pause for 4. Inhale at 4. Hold your breath for 4. Exhale for 4. Pause for 4. And then that's when you can kind of see it's like corner, 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 corner. Okay? Inhale for 4. Hold your breath for 4. Exhale for 4. Pause for 4. And then if you choose to go again, you've paused, you move into the inhale, etc. So new tool, self-compassion. You can be someone new. You have already become that. It's just a matter of you got the dress in the closet. You can fit it now. Like you can fit the dress. You have the new you have it. It's right there. It's right there. It just might feel a little different. It might be like, oh, but I've never done this before. You got some red lipstick or lipstick. You never won lipstick. You got yourself some. First time you put it on, it might feel weird. I remember when I started, like, this was a long time ago. I used to never wear like when I was a child, I didn't wear nail polish. And then I forgot how old I was, but eventually, like, I got something other than like white tips or just a design. And then I felt like, oh, the whole time I'm like, oh, it's a color. It feels so weird. Just because I haven't done it before. From that point on, I had like rainbow nails, all kinds of stuff. Okay. Like, you just sometimes have to like grow into yourself. At first, it's going to feel different. And then also you might try on something and then be like, I really just genuinely, wholeheartedly just don't like this. Like, I just don't like it. I don't like it. And you get to choose that. You get to challenge that. You have that ability. Like, you can stop self-sabotaging yourself if you want to.